One interview, one headline, and now one of the office's biggest stars is publicly declaring a big FU to Fox News. But why did Rainn Wilson, best known as Dwight Schrute, suddenly explode at one of America's biggest news networks? And how did a simple comment about the office become the center of another political firestorm? Well, this story isn't just about a TV show. It's about media narratives, politics, and why Wilson now says his own words were twisted to fit someone else's agenda. The controversy actually began last month during an interview with Fox News. Wilson reflected on whether The Office could be made in today's political climate. He said, "I do feel like you couldn't make The Office today. I think that would be too hard to be as politically incorrect as the show was. And I do kind of miss that." Those comments quickly spread online. Many conservative commentators celebrated the statement as proof that political correctness had gone too far. Fox News also highlighted Wilson's remarks with a headline that described him as blasting political hypocrisy. But according to Wilson, that's not what he intended. Days later, Wilson appeared on comedian Tim Heidecker's Office Hours podcast. That's where the conversation took a dramatic turn. Wilson accused Fox News and other right-wing outlets of taking his comments completely out of context. Speaking bluntly, he said, "Here's the problem. Everything in our world is so partisan that Rainn Wilson says, 'Oh, you could never make The Office today.' Fox hijacks that." Heidecker then joked that the network essentially portrayed Wilson as being on their side. According to Wilson, that couldn't have been further from the truth. Wilson explained that Fox's coverage made it appear as though he was endorsing a broader political message. Summarizing what he believed was the network's thinking, Wilson said, "You see that? He's on our side, and he's against political correctness." Wilson insisted that wasn't the point he was trying to make. He felt his comments were transformed into what he described as clickbait MAGA power. And then came the line that immediately went viral. Wilson declared a big FU for Ben Shapiro of Fox News. That single sentence instantly became the biggest headline from the podcast. Despite the backlash, Wilson made it clear that he still stands by his original opinion about The Office. He explained, "Look, so we were on network television, we're making 21-minute, 30-second episodes, and what we were doing was considered pretty edgy for network television. It is an opinion that I have." In other words, Wilson's view about the comedy hasn't changed. What changed was how he believes that opinion was used after the interview. Wilson also revealed that the fallout wasn't limited to conservative media. He admitted he faced criticism from the opposite side as well. In fact, he said, "I get it from both sides. I got texts from people I'd worked with like, 'Would you shut up about that?'" That, according to Wilson, is exactly what's wrong with today's political climate. No matter what you say, someone is ready to claim you're an ally, while someone else is prepared to attack you. Wilson believes Fox News turned one comment about television into something much bigger. Instead of discussing the evolution of comedy, he says the focus shifted to politics. Fox's headline framed his remarks around political hypocrisy, while conservative commentator Ben Shapiro praised Wilson's comments on his own podcast. Wilson, however, says that wasn't the conversation he wanted to have. He believes his words were transformed into what he described as clickbait MAGA power. Podcast host Tim Heidecker didn't hold back either. He criticized Fox News and told Wilson, "Don't even go on Fox News. Don't even give them the satisfaction of thinking that they have you as an ally. They're so complicit in the fascist turn this country's taken." Wilson listened, but stopped short of fully embracing that argument. Instead, he tried to explain that the real issue wasn't just one network. For him, the bigger problem is how every statement is immediately pulled into America's political divide. Wilson says his opinion about The Office remains exactly the same. He still believes the sitcom pushed boundaries that would be much harder to pull off today. But he also believes discussing that reality shouldn't automatically place someone into a political camp. That's the distinction he says many people completely missed. Wilson summed up his frustration with one line that has now become one of the biggest takeaways from the interview. He said, "It's the hypocrisy that gets me the most. It's the hypocrisy of both sides need to have kind of equal standards of behavior." That statement reflects the message Wilson insists he was trying to make all along. Not that one political side is right, not that the other side is wrong, but that everyone should be held to the same standard. Ironically, the actor who spent years making audiences laugh as Dwight Schrute now finds himself at the center of a very serious debate about media, politics, and public perception. What started as a nostalgic comment about The Office quickly spiraled into accusations of media manipulation, partisan politics, and viral outrage. Whether you agree with Rainn Wilson or not, one thing is undeniable. His comments have reignited a much larger conversation about how interviews are edited, how headlines shape public opinion, and how quickly celebrities can become symbols in political battles they never intended to join.